I'm having the hardest time explaining this one. Go ahead.
Okay, for one, Jesus was never talking about meats at all. He's talking about a ritual that the rabbis came up with, and they were trying to get after him because him and his disciples did not follow their commandment. He wasn't breaking God's commandment. One, pigs and abominations are never considered food. So he's not even talking about them. Take them off the board. Secondly, the whole chapter and the whole verse is talking about eating bread and bread only. A ritual that the rabbis and Jews still do today. They get a two-handled cup. It's got two handles on it. It's called a negel vesser. And they say a prayer while they wash each hand while saying this prayer, thanking God for him giving them the authority to make them wash hands while they eat bread. So what he's saying is what goes in your belly doesn't defile your heart. He's talking about them with the ritually unclean hands eating bread, which was the whole discussion about. So no, eating bread without saying this goofy prayer that they came up with does not defile you. It's what's in your heart. Were they breaking any law of God's? No, they weren't breaking any of God's laws. They were breaking rabbinical law, which is nonsense. It was not the law of God. This is where everybody gets confused. The law of God was never done away with. The law of the rabbis was done away with. It's called the Oral Torah or the Talmud, the Babylonian Talmud. And it's opinions of rabbis that don't even know what they're talking about because they're not filled with the Holy Spirit. And they come up with all these rules and regulations that they add to. It's called Takanot and Maasim of the Pharisees. Judaism today, rabbinical Judaism, is ancient Phariseeism. They reinvented themselves after the temple was destroyed. So, like I said, Pharisees then and Jews today, rabbinical Jews, before they eat any type of bread or grain, they take a two-handled cup called a negel vesser. They wash each hand in sequence, saying a prayer. It's a heretical prayer. Otherwise, when you eat the bread, if you don't do that, they say you're in sin and you're being defiled. And what Jesus is clarifying, you don't have to wash your hands with that prayer because that's not God's commandments and you're not defiling yourself that way. Has nothing to do with meat, has nothing to do with meat that's unclean. It was never considered food. It's all about their ritual. And that was the whole discussion that everybody gets lost on. And if you understand that key terms, you understand what he's really saying and you wouldn't be defiling yourself and eating poison and trash. You are what you eat. Oh, there you go.